We got a great show this week, Glenn. We're talking to Chad Ferrin about his new film, The Co-Ed Killer.
Unless you're living in America or anywhere else, and it's called Ed Kemper.
We're also covering the best of the year 2018.
We have such a fun movie battle this week. We've got Night of the Demons versus Fright Night.
And the Boneheads will be joining us once more.
And all the usual stuff. Do-do-do.
How do I usually start the show?
Hey.
Hey.
Just roll with that.
Yeah. And on that bombshell, welcome to Good Movie Monday.
Whenever you do the bombshell, that cracks me up. How's it going?
How's it going? That's right, folks. You've tuned in to Good Movie Monday. We'll get around to it eventually. Your home for nerdy cinematic ramblings. My name is Ben Helwig, and I'm joined, as ever, by Mr. Glenn Cochran.
That is more.
How you doing, mate?
I'm doing good. It's been a week. You know, I watched way more shows or movies than I anticipated I would. That I ever have, in fact. I don't know how, because I've been busy all round.
But we had a sneaky public holiday. Did worm its way in. I don't know if you took the long weekend last week. I certainly did.
I didn't. I worked the Monday in between because the Tuesday was the day off. But yeah, I guess that's what it was. I just managed to cram a lot in, including shows. So
that extra day. I always feel guilty. I ended up just playing a lot of PlayStation because I'm like, at least then I feel like I'm doing something active, as opposed to watching movies where I'm not. And you're like, what is the active part? It's my thumbs were moving.
So. Figure this out. Like, these are what I watched. So I watched Forbidden Zone. Why?
Right.
Invitation to Murder. Singing in the Rain. Why? I watched Fright Night 1 and 2. I watched Night of the Demons 1 and 2. I watched The Jester 1 and 2. I watched Welcome to Derry, the latest episode. I watched some Castle Rock. I watched 30 Rock. And my recommendation for this week's TV Tuesday. Like...
Yeah, I'm actually shocked that you watched the movie battle this week, because usually you're a couple of weeks ahead on that on that stuff.
I know. Not always, my friend. I'm not that perfect. Hey, before we push on, there's something I want to say. I don't usually do this, but I thought this is a good opportunity too, because you and I have been talking off the mic. It gets to this time of year when it becomes apparent that the cost of producing this show becomes quite apparent. So I just wanted to, we don't usually come out with our sort of hat in our hands, but I just wanted to let people know that if you do want to support what we do and help produce the show, we do have a Support Us tab on the website, and your assistance would be much appreciated. If everyone that listens to this did $1, we'd get ourselves through the next year, because all the subscriptions come up and it's quite an expensive show to produce. We don't do any subscription-based stuff or Patreon or anything like that. So it's a free thing that we do. And if you do enjoy it, give us a leg up. That'd be fantastic. Just wanted to put that out there. Never do that before, but every other fucking podcast I listen to does. So I thought, bugger it, we're going to...
Well, I'm going to treat it like every other podcast I listen to and ignore it.
Yeah, that's right. And you can do that too, because we're going to do this one way or the other. It doesn't matter. And we're not struggling by any means. It's just that it gets towards Christmas and you get those reminders that the annual subscriptions are due. And you're like, wow.
I was shocked at how expensive it is.
Yeah, it costs a lot of money to produce this show.
And we're not even to produce the show, just the hosting.
Yep.
It's the hosting of the show.
That's right. Let alone like money you put into market here and there, or to boost stuff. But and if you run a business of any kind and you'd love to jump in and support us, or get in bed with us, as it were, we would happily do that. Head to toe.
There's always room in the Good Movie Monday bed.
There is, right between us.
Yeah.
Yeah, head to toe though,
head
right?
to toe.
Yeah.
No. Well, our crotches are still lined up, so either way.
Well, we get a foot each.
Yeah. That's more off-putting than the other.
If you love having your toes sucked, come on board. We're here for it.
That's why I stick my feet in the goldfish pond. A little nibble.
Yeah. Oh, that's what you call my mouth.
Yeah. Yep. A little nibble.
Oh, my goodness. Hey, we went to the movies.
Before we get to that,
all right.
Yeah. Why don't you head over to goodmoviemonday.com where you can find all our social media. You can also find the Support Us tab.
That's right.
You can also find all our old episodes, all the old podcasts that Glenn used to do without me. I don't know why.
In other words, the boring stuff.
Yeah, why would anyone want to listen to that stuff?
Yeah,
I don't get it.
Yeah.
I suppose Jarrett's on a lot of it.
Jarrett's on a lot of it, but so are our previous, co-hosts and whatnot. We've had Justine Ryan, we've had Sean Crawford, even Sam was on with us for a while. We had Mousy Begg up until last year. Like, there's a lot of people that have been
on the show
through the show and shows. There you go. And what else is on there? The links to all of our social media. So
and our merch.
Subscribe. Yeah, merch. I don't even have I usually have a mug right there with Good Movie Monday. And I've got a Video Easy 25th anniversary glass in front of me.
Which we will be selling those as well.
That's right.
Yeah,
I've got a few of them. What do you reckon?
We know who owns the video. No, we know who owns the Movieland brand. I'm sure.
Yeah, let's just give him...
He's probably not on top of things. We can just
give him a run for his money and start up the Video Easy podcast.
I want to do a home show. Home show or Mix Flicks.
Yeah, well,
I used to like that video store.
What about good old Macadam Flicks? Do you remember that?
Macadam Flips. I remember Total Video.
Yeah.
That's
that was my video store, by the way. It's located at Macadam Square, Croydon Hills. Still has a Facebook page. Go check it out.
Well, Total Video was my old video store. It doesn't have a Facebook page. It is now a hairdressing salon.
Yeah, mine's a real estate agent.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Of course, that's who moved in.
Of course.
The only people who are doing well in this economy.
They were eyeing off that property for a long time.
They had last weekend. There was an auction at the house next door to me, the back unit. The listed price was between $720,000 and $780,000. We went along just to see what was what.
As you do.
Always wanted to see what was in their house, so perfect opportunity to do it. Nice 2-bedroom unit. I think it went for $870,000, like $100,000 over the asking price.
Yep.
And shared. It's a shared garage. You don't even get the whole garage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Outrageous.
Well, we're living in a crisis.
Yeah.
And people are snapping up what they can. There you go. Well. And on that bombshell, let's talk about Predator.
Badlands.
Badlands. We went and saw this at IMAX.
Which I've heard is the second best format to see it in, because I saw people going to see it on 40X where they did the pumped the shit out of it.
Panoramic or whatever it's called.
Yeah, which looked amazing. I don't know. Do we still have the 40X cinemas here in Melbourne?
I don't know, but I can imagine it would be a good one. Like this it's a spectacle for sure. Look, I'll be honest with you. I went into this one like quietly hopeful. I reckon the first 20 minutes I was a little bit dubious. I'm like, I'm not really into this, but it flipped on me and I ended up loving it. Like, it really did. The second it got to this planet that most of the film takes place on, some great world building, the creatures and the fauna and all that kind of stuff is fantastic. I do have a few reservations or, criticisms of it. The major one is the only one worth focusing on would be the fact that they just pump some humanity into this predator. I don't like that. I don't think their species has the capacity for humanity.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I mean, he is the runt. He's the runt of the litter kind of thing.
Yeah. It's about a young predator warrior who is the runt, and he gets outcast from his clan, and to prove himself he has to hunt down this not a fabled beast, but this giant,
an unkillable beast that
even his father's afraid of.
Who's the head of the pack.
Yeah. And
their tribe.
And on his journey he meets up with an android from the Wayland Company, played by is it Al Fanning? I think it is.
Al Fanning, yes.
Yeah, and then they become a duo, an unlikely duo.
Yeah.
I liked their whole thing.
Yeah, their thing. It was great. I mean, look, this is very much a movie that you've seen before.
Yep.
Like, it is very, very much like 10,000 Years BC or any of those movies where the young guy has to go and...
Warrior's Journey.
Yeah, Warrior's Journey. Yes, yeah, exactly. Has to learn about what it really means to be a man, and that's not to be what everyone expects you to be, but be true to yourself.
Yep.
And that's what this movie is, and it's great.
And you throw in all kinds of influences. Like, there's a heavy, like, even Lord of the Rings influence, the way they shot some of the landscapes, and it is in New Zealand, and Weta Workshop was involved as well, so there's that. There's even, like, little bits of Mad Max with the tribalism and just a lot of the nature of the hunt and all this. Yeah, and like a lot of throwbacks to the Alien series, like they bring in the whole, Jim Cameron fucking robot tractor things that they I don't know what they call them.
Yeah, the movers.
Yeah. But tell you what, just a barrel of fun. Like, it's one of the best times I've had at the cinemas in the last 6 months, I reckon.
Yeah. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Definitely worth checking out. It got released last Thursday, and it will be in every cinema. It's not one that you have to work particularly hard to find.
That's right. And I believe there is another one coming. So this new director, he did Prey before it. He also directed the anime that dropped onto
the thing,
Disney.
yeah, Dan Trachtenberg is his name.
That's right. And he planned it to be a live-action trilogy, so there should be one more coming if this one performs well, which I can't imagine it won't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they do set it up. The last kind of scene is the setup for the next film. When I was researching this guy, he also did 10 Cloverfield Lane, which is a very popular film. But he's working on in development, he's working on a Waterworld TV series, which I'm very interested in seeing.
Ooh.
I mean, that could be great.
Will they drink piss in it? That's the question.
Surely that all they'll be drinking is piss.
That's right.
Like it should be a running gag through the show where they just I'll take a glass of piss.
It's like I've run out of steam. Like,
Yeah.
Piss. Yeah. Somebody piss.
I want it to be set in like the ocean around Australia, so it's just everyone's talking with broad Australian accents, going, "Give us another cup of piss, would you?"
And then they
Except in that they're actually talking about actual piss.
Sailing to Port Phillip Bay.
Yeah.
Pull up to the Frankston jetty. You go get some real piss.
I'll have all the piss. I'll take all the piss that's going.
It's Terrific TV Tuesday, the only Tuesday TV segment that drops on a Monday.
Now, earlier in the show, Glenn, you ran through an incredibly detailed list of what you'd been watching this week. The one thing you didn't mention was what you actually had watched.
Correct.
For TV Tuesday recommendations. So why don't you kick us off with that bad boy?
All right, there is a brand new show that has dropped onto Netflix, I believe it is. Premiered a month ago. It's called Film Club. And it's, hang on, is it Netflix or, no, I think it might be Prime.
I think it is Prime because I watched it as well.
Okay.
I watched the first episode.
Sure.
And I only have Prime.
There you go. So it stars Amy Lou Wood, who's from Sex Education. She was recently in White Lotus.
Is she from Sex Education?
Yeah. And Naban Rizwan, who was in 1917 and also Dope Girls. And this is a nice little sort of comedic drama, just about two friends that have a weekly themed sort of movie club. That's, it's basically it's the foundation of their existence. They're both kind of introverts. She's dealing with an incident that happened to her, a breakdown that happened to her, like I think 5 or 6 years ago, and she's trying to overcome, but she's struggling to.
She can't leave their property.
She's become agoraphobic.
But she's suffering from the T word. My most hated.
Yes.
My most hated.
However, and I thought
trauma.
I thought of you when they started that, but you've only watched the first?
I've only watched the first.
Okay, so they really dive into what it was, and it's not quite just like a trauma thing. Like it's an actual reason why she is a homebody and introverted.
Right. Her mum is great.
Her mum is the show stealer, particularly as like you get. It's only 6 episodes, so as you get towards the end, her character really steals the show. Like really takes things over. Fantastic, and the guy's good too. But once again, you got to get a few episodes in before he really comes into his own. Yeah,
because he's kind of a bit of a wet blanket kind of to start with, but that's their kind of.
The dilemma of this show too is that because they're inseparable, but he gets a job 100 and something miles away
in Bristol. I don't know where I think they're in like Manchester
something
or
like
something
that.
like that, and he gets a job in Bristol.
I can't remember them establishing that, to be honest with you. They probably do, and I just didn't pay attention.
I know that he's definitely got the job in Bristol.
Yes.
But I don't know where they're based.
So that was the dilemma that, he's going to move far away. These movie nights, these film club nights are just, does she carry on without him? Can she carry on without him? Yeah. And it becomes a thing. But it's a show almost about nothing. Like it is,
and they are platonic friends.
They are platonic
at
friends.
The start.
Yes, that's right.
I don't know where it goes.
100% platonic friends. But
she's got a boyfriend, and he's flirting with a lady at work.
Yep.
That he's oblivious to the fact that she's flirting with him.
I know, he's a dumbass. I do love this character dynamic between the two of them. The only thing that frustrated me a bit, and this is just from our point of view as filmies, and we love film, the movies that they focus on, every week it's a new movie. They're the most pedestrian, famous movies you can think of. Shawshank Redemption, The Wizard of Oz. It's all the classics. So from our point of view, we'd be going like, why not Night of the Demons?
Do something a bit interesting.
Do something very interesting. However, I understand and respect that the average viewer, that would be fun for them.
And they do deep dive. Like they do. They quiz each other on the movie and they go fucking deep.
They do. And they set their garage up where they view everything in theme. So when they get to the Wizard of Oz episode, and she hates the Wizard of Oz with a passion, and yet it's his favourite film, so there's a little bit of a clash there.
But he's running late to the thing, and they all dress up in costume. He has to change on like the train is not working, so he has to take the bus replacement service. So he has to change into his Tin Man costume, which is possibly, and I don't say this lightly, and I don't say this to be trying to be offensive, but it is literally the gayest costume I have ever seen, and I mean that in like the best possible way.
And
but
then,
it is
and
incredibly...
then he's riding on his bike.
Yeah.
So look, it's sort of a nothing show. There's no heavy drama in it. It's just melodramatic and nice and fun, and it's a character driven show. And I really really like this one, and that is it. So 6 episodes, really easy. I hope they do a second series. That'd be nice. So that's me.
That's you.
Yep. What about you?
Well, look, once again, the great Matt O'Neill came to my rescue this week because Slow Horses had finished up and I'd run out of things to watch. And he recommended a show called Down Cemetery Road, which I had seen the trailers for. It's only just dropped. So they've only released the first 2 episodes on Apple Plus TV. It stars Ruth Gordon... Or Ruth Wilson, I should say. Not Ruth Gordon, the old woman from what's his name? Any Which Way You Can and Every Which Way You Lose. But what's the Altman movie where she gets it on with Bud Cort?
Yeah.
It's like super famous.
Yeah, not Mrs. No.
It's Spider and Rose has always been the Australian rip-off of it.
Oh, not Miss. No, you keep going. I'll find it.
Yeah, I can't believe I can't remember what it is. No, sorry, Ruth Wilson, who I like to think of as the star of, the star of the Lone Ranger movie. Although, I think most people know her from that. What was that TV series where the infidelity TV series with her and Pacey from.
I don't know. You're doing all these tangents on me. I'm
tangents.
like, what the fuck? What am I looking up? That or this? Like, I don't know what this is. Sorry about this, everyone. I'm going to go into his filmography here. Proper filmography. You can just bear... If you're listening to the show, apologies.
Brewster McLeod? No, it's not.
What do we got? McCabe and Mrs. Miller? That's the one I was thinking of.
No. Oh, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's not Altman.
Anyway.
Now I'm going to do it.
There will be a screen wipe.
Harold and Maude, for fuck's sake.
Oh, dude.
It's Hal Ashby. It's not Ron Altman.
I should have known when you said Bud Cord.
Yeah.
But anyway, you know how much time went by because my drink is
You
gone.
drink it all. Yeah, you just keep pretending you don't have an alcohol problem. And that was lemonade.
You know when I'm on the alcohol when I do this show, you can't make 2 cents of what I'm saying.
Anyway, sorry.
Bottoms up.
Ruth Wilson, Emma Thompson, Adam Godfrey, and Darren Boyd, who is the kind of villain of the show. He's in a bunch of stuff. You'll recognize him as soon as you see him. He's great as the asshole kind of villain. This show is a Ruth Wilson is she works in a museum. She does kind of art restoration stuff, but she's having a dinner party with her boyfriend and some people from his work when there's an explosion and the house kind of a couple of doors down has like a gas main has leaked and the house is blown up.
Yep.
And the only survivor, the mother, it's a mother and daughter living there. The mother has died, and they hustle the daughter out, and she gets taken away to hospital. And Ruth Wilson thinks that she's had this encounter earlier on with the girl. She finds out later that it wasn't her, it was someone else. But because she kind of thought that she'd had this encounter and had this connection, her niece draws like a little, get well soon kind of card. So she goes to the hospital to try and give it to her, and she's given the brush off as if, look, we can't release it. We can't tell you anything about that. Sorry, we don't know what you're talking about. So that strikes her as odd. She goes to the police. They're like, oh, sorry, that file has been sealed. We can't, which means we can't give you any information about it. So she kind of thinks it's a bit weird. And then just by pure accident, she happens to walk past a private detective agency. So she's like, well, let's give this, just see what happens. It's just weird.
Yeah.
See what happens. Because the people are quite rude to her and abrasive, and they really
Something's
don't
off.
want to. Something's off. And the private detectives are Emma Thompson and Adam Godley. And so kind of Emma Thompson's not really interested. She's like, my husband will take care of it. And she kind of leaves. So Adam Godley's like, well, I'll take the case. And they're clearly, the detective agency isn't doing too well. So they're kind of happy for any kind of work.
Yep.
And then she kind of gets this, a couple of days later, she gets a call from Adam Godfrey. And she's like, look, I don't know. It's not going well. I don't know. But look, I'll keep poking around. Next thing you know, he winds up dead.
Right.
And that pulls Emma Thompson in.
Yep.
And then the shit hits the fan. And it's, like I said, 2 episodes. It'll be a 6-episode series. But that's just the setup.
Yeah, cool.
And Emma Thompson is fucking great.
She's been good she's always good, but the last few years she's really ramped it up,
Yeah, and she stopped giving a fuck.
Particularly when you watch that Thank You Leo Grand or whatever it was called, the one with the male gigolo.
Yeah.
Like, she really lets it go in that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like her a lot. Cool.
And she's got a new movie that's coming out theatrically soon. I know you've gone to see it. I've already had a sneaky preview, and that is also fucking good. And I think in that one, she's playing an American, but even worse, she's playing like an American from like North Dakota or something.
Yeah, it's a Fargo type.
She's got the really strong American accent, and she pulls it off. Like, not being, as someone who's not a native, I can't really say how well she pulls it off, but for me, I thoroughly enjoyed her accent.
Comparing it to all those other dodgy accents that you listen to.
Well, there's always, every time Russell Crowe is in front of the camera, you're like, this guy just doesn't get it.
No, he really doesn't. Man,
he's never been able to maintain an accent.
Man, we've got that Nuremberg coming up too. He's in that pulling another bloody accent.
When you sent me that thing, I could have sworn that was John Goodman. And I know John Goodman's not fat anymore. He's changed places with Russell Crowe, but I'm like, fucking hell.
It's really time for Russell Crowe to step aside, stop making movies, or like just fucking get it together and make them good again.
He just needs to turn into Jack Thompson, where he's moved from lead actor to character actor and just doing bit parts and being like, or like Marissa Tomei, where you're like, oh, you're just the really cool kind of accent character to this.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to insist that he's 40 years younger than he is.
You know what? There's being fat, right? Which is fine. You can be a great actor when you're fat, but I don't believe any actors are particularly good when they're bloated. And it's like William Shatner. Like, he's just constantly bloated. Not fat, but bloated.
He just likes his KFC, man. You can't blame him for that.
I hate saying it because I do like Russell Crowe, but like, come on, man. Yeah. Give us what we want.
I reckon it's just years and years of like trying to keep it under wraps. And if you get to the age where you're like, fuck it, I'm just going to eat what I fucking want.
100%, and I can relate.
Like, I like bread. I'm going to eat bread, and I don't care. Bread and potatoes. I don't care what you say.
I live on a farm. I make bread and I grow potatoes.
Yeah. I got both in abundance. Now, in the past, Glenn, I have worked on 2 Chad Ferrin films. I'm positive he had no idea
when we spoke to him.
I think I may have even mentioned it, but I still don't think he kind of caught on. But I worked on the release of Someone's Knocking at the Door, which is one of the greatest horror films that Monster Pictures has released, an undiscovered gem. Yeah. It only ever came out on DVD. I don't think a HD master exists, but if you can find a copy of that on DVD, definitely worth checking out. Because it's fucked up. And the other one was Easter Bunny Kill Kill. Similarly, super fucked up.
Yes, and that's gotten itself a real cult following, that one.
Yeah.
This is possibly one of the most fun conversations I've had on this show. We had a great time chatting with him.
We do. He is the right kind of... He's a guy who makes films and it's a job. Like, it's his living, and he works... he wants to make it a career, or he has made it a career. And that's how he looks at it. He doesn't look at it like every film is his precious baby and it's a masterpiece of art and stuff. He makes movies to entertain.
Yeah.
He makes movies that sell. He listens to the market. He's a fascinating guy with all of that stuff. And he lets a lot drop in this interview that you never hear from other filmmakers in other interviews.
Correct. It includes a lot of compromise, and it's a very un-PC chat, so I hope you enjoyed as much as we had fun recording it.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us. It's really great to be chatting with you about this new movie of yours.
Hey, thanks for having me.
It's a really good time to be making serial killer movies. I think like everyone's into
I,
them.
yeah, it's very good timing.
What drew you to Ed Kemper in general?
Money. No, you know, it was I had done a film called Pig Killer based on Robert Pickton, a Canadian serial killer, and that was playing pretty well. And a Facebook friend of mine, Mike Muscal, who was a producer who made Ed Gein, Hillside Strangler, Ted Bundy, kind of a slew of the late 90s, early 2000 true crime films. And they're really good. And, so he reached out to me and said, hey, are you interested in doing Ed Kemper? And I said, well, yeah, well, I know the story and I've always been intrigued by it. And do you have a script? And he's like, sure, let me shoot it over. And I'm like, well, let me get it, this out of the way first and foremost. I mean, I make these things in 10 days for like $100,000. So if, if that scares you off on, doing this with me, then, don't even bother sending the script because I don't want to waste my time reading it. And he's like, no, hey, that sounds fine. We just want to get it made. And I'm like, shoot it over. And the script was great, written by Steven Johnson, who had written Ed Gein. And, I was just totally impressed that he got the facts right. The names were right. That, everything was kind of, there. And my only thing was going through it and kind of making it work on a, $100,000 budget and kind of bumping up the mother-son relationship. And, that was it. We were pretty much off and making it within a month of getting the script.
That's incredible, and just in of that, what you said there, you've answered my next like 3 questions. So like, let's tick them off my list. But I might probe a little bit more. But before I do, I was just thinking, like, when the TV series Mindhunter came out, everybody became obsessed with Ed Kemper. Like, what do you reckon about him caught their attention, above other killers?
I think, the fact that he was so smart and in a sense, kind of, there was remorse to it. He admitted to his crimes and helped the FBI. And, there's something that, he kind of, and he's just very personable, he's very,
he's such a lovely guy.
Yeah, a guy you would, hey, I'd like to have a beer with that guy,
Yeah.
listen to his stories. And I think that's just kind of one of the things, being, 6'9" and 140 IQ is a rarity among serial killers. And he just had, he could crush you with his hands. I mean, I think it's that whole thing. Part of the reason I think serial killers are so relatable or, popular is because people either at one point or time in their life want to kill someone. I want to kill someone yesterday driving. They cut me off and I'm like, oh my God, for 5 seconds, you're like, I could murder that person.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone has a relatable experience. And they also have a relatable experience of being feared of death.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's, someone creeping around your door or you're watching the news and, the Hillside Strangler is lurking around and 4 women have been killed. So everyone's kind of on edge that I could be the next victim. So you've got that duality of relatability with being a victim and being, a murderer. And that kind of collides with true crime. And I think that's part of the reason it's so popular. I mean, that's why I love it. It's one of those things that you watch this late at night and you're creeped out that, oh, that could be me, or boy, I'd love to do that to my ex-girlfriend. All these things that, they kind of coincide and collide with this, the relatability to everyone.
100%. I know a few TikTok commenters I could apply that to. Recently we had that monster series, the Ed Gein story, which I think universally has been agreed upon that it fucked up the true story completely. How do you approach the whole fact versus fiction? Like, as a creative mind, you're creating some entertainment. Like, is there any lines that are blurred for you?
Yeah, I mean, I try to get as much as the facts right that we can do within the budget. Like Ed Kemper is an example. There was a whole sideline with, his activities in the cop bar where he would buddy up with all these different police and get these stories and all this stuff. And it was just one of those things for time. It's like, well, I've got to cut that out. I mean, as much as I love it and it's interesting and it's true, but you got to kind of choose your battles. And it's like, we just shot a film, Sunset Strip Killers, based on Carol Bundy and Doug Clark, a duo of killers in 1980 that picked up prostitutes on the Sunset Strip and shot them in the face, had sex with their corpses and all that fun stuff. And there was so many things that we shot that ended up on the cutting room floor that it's just like the time that we could have spent on other things, that it was another learning lesson. That was something of, you got to pick what you can from the real story. Also, what's cinematic and what makes, the story flow. You can have a 10-minute scene that's great dialogue of Ed Kemper in a cop bar talking to a cop, but no one gives a shit. I'm sorry to say, it's two dudes talking. The story they want to see, victim number 4, victim number 5, or the going down the garbage disposal. All those things that, on a limited budget, you've got to spend more time with than the nuts and bolts or the love story or that stuff. Because, I hate to say it, I mean, people don't want to sit there, and especially in this day and age with their ADHD and all that other crap, they'll get bored with, Ed Kemper talking for, 10 minutes to a cop. So I choose my, things that I'm like, okay, that's got to go, and that's got to go, and, and move the story, and try to make something that's, respectful and honest to the true case, but at the same time cinematic, entertaining, and you don't mess up, especially when you're doing these period pieces on a low budget. There's stuff that you're like, okay, well, we can't do that because it's filled with, period incorrect cars or buildings or whatever. Yeah. So creations have to change to kind of fit that. And then, it's just kind of walking that thin line of getting it right. And that's, for me, getting the period correct is so important. And our wardrobe has been awesome on these last few true crime films, where they get stuff that's period correct and it's whatever. Then we find a few cars, we put it in there, and it's like, bingo, we got it. Move on, and get it as close and real to what happened, and at the same time being entertaining, thought-provoking film.
100%. It's better to be accused of leaving stuff out than just making shit up. Like
there's a 2000, I think the 2008 version of Ed Kemper that I was like, oh God, they've already done it. And then I look it up, and it's like, it's got cell phones, it's got the period's totally incorrect. The guy's like 5'3". I mean, it's all that's a waste of fucking time. And and I go, well, if you're going to try and pull it off, at least try to do the period and do these things. So I knew there was.
Oh, you're frozen. Is he frozen for you, Ben?
He's frozen for me.
Competition out there, except the only, still there?
Oh.
Losing connection. There we go.
Sorry.
I think we got you back.
What?
No?
No.
Ed Kemper's out after. It's just, there was no other Ed Kemper really, so that was, except the Mindhunter series got it right. So I mean, it was kind of fresh territory to get to it, and I hope Australia digs it.
Yes, we got the tail end of that. I'm just hoping, we've just got a bad connection here, so we'll try to push on, and hopefully it's all good.
It keeps going. It's okay.
Can you? Go on, Ben.
So I thought, like, the real difficulty in doing the Ed Kemper story is because he is 6'9" and just this huge guy, and you tackle it, well in the film, but his relationship with his mother, and which he has admitted, like, a lot of the female victims were just in place of him trying to kill his mother, because his mother is such a domineering, horrible person. And you get a great performance out of Susan Priver, is absolutely fantastic as the mother. But how do you capture that part where you go, why doesn't he just kill her? Like, why doesn't he just quick twist of the neck, and the constant belittling stops? Like that whole scene where they're watching John Wayne and she just really gives it to him. He's nothing but lovely to her.
Well, he'd be making shit up if he went and did that.
Yeah.
But I think it's also, it's also getting into his head, because I had kind of a fucked up childhood, and there were times you want to kill your father or whatever it might be, because of whatever, and you stop short of it, because that's such a huge sin of, even everyone's been brought up that, anything, even back talking your parents is atrocious. So, I think that's one of the reasons he was so, he waited so long to do it, and get up the nerve to do it, and practice on, unfortunately some co-eds. But, it's everyone, it takes whatever it is to push that button, and for him, it finally broke, and, he was able to, do her in, and have sex with her head. So I mean, there's so many things that it's just hard to think. I tried, even when writing these things, of relating to my own childhood and own fucked up things, instead of whining or complaining about it. You try to use those things, those demons and whatever. And the same thing, actors that I've talked to that use the same thing, they'll sense memory or whatever it might be to kind of trigger an emotional response to the character or feel more close to them, is the same thing I apply to writing and directing, of trying to get a feeling of both the killer and the victim, the fear of that. A guy broke into my house a couple of weeks ago, and I had just got home, and then I got my gun, he ran out, and I chased the guy, almost a mile, because he had, half of my shit in a suitcase. And when I tracked him down on the street and pointed a gun at his head, he dropped it immediately and, ran for his life. But I got my stuff back. But it's that sense of being violated, that someone was in your house or whatever. I can only imagine the violation of someone who, is picked up in a car and then can't get out of that car, and she's got a gun in her head, and she, it's just a terrifying thing. But you try to pull just a sense of what they might go through, and the true things that happen to yourself as a writer and a filmmaker.
Yeah, that scene where she's drunk at the back of the door on the floor, like that the angle's very provocative, and I didn't know how to feel about that. Like, I'm feeling all kinds of things right now.
Tingling.
Hey, you're like, is this going to turn into a completely different kind of film? Is he going to open the door? What's going to happen here?
This is probably more of an observation than a question, but Brink Stevens, like, we've seen her in hundreds of things, but I think this is the best thing she's done in a long time. Like, you get a really good performance out of her. And I know that when the film fell across Ben's desk, his first reaction was, ooh, Brink Stevens. She was great.
Oh, she's fantastic. And it's one of those, Joe Castro, who does the makeup, recommended her, and she auditioned for the part. And I thought, she was so humble and so, excited to even be given the opportunity. And, and then after casting her, she was just amazing on set, and really, I couldn't imagine anyone else playing it. I mean, she was really just fantastic. And I used her again in the film after that, Dorothea, and, just an honor to be working with her. She's fantastic.
100%.
You even got everyone's favorite curmudgeon filmmaker, Jeff Leroy, in the film, which was fantastic.
Oh, Jeff's great. I mean, I've used him on the last few films, in every capacity, from, set building to, going and get sodas or whatever. I mean, he's just, he's excited and just a great energy to have on set. I mean,
he's great.
That's the thing about these films. I get a small cast, small crew that I've worked with on numerous films, and we just it's like a family reunion, and we just have fun doing it. And, it's just a blast. And he's definitely part of the team.
But did he ever suggest, like, during the pre-production stage, and like, what if instead of Ed Kemper being 6'9", the mum is like 12'10"?
He brought that up numerous times.
Speaking of people you've worked with a lot, like, before I pivot into other questions, we can't ignore the fact that Brandon Kirk played Ed Kemper in this, and you've worked with him many times, as you've worked with many of your cast and crew many times. Was he always going to be your Ed Kemper?
In the back of my mind he was, but, for the other producers, they're like, well, let's see other people. And, we wanted to see some guys that are like actually 6'9", and some of them were pretty good and whatever, but they didn't even compare to the magnetism and the humor, in a sense, that, Ed brought, or Brandon brought to it. And then every time, I'm sitting down watching these guys audition, and I'm sitting there and I'm looking at them and I'm like, they don't seem 6'9". It's, then you stand up next to him and it's like, okay, yeah, he's tall. But, that was part of the thing. Brandon, I think, was 6'1". So, we tried to shoot him to seem taller. And then we got shorter actresses to work with. I tried to kind of cheat it as best possible to give that height difference something there. But it's hard, to find someone that's, got that. And then everyone goes, well, why didn't you use the guy from Mindhunter? And I'm like, that fucking guy would have been, 10 times the budget of the film. And done it. I mean, he's kind of an idiot. He'd be typecast as playing fucking Ed Kemper.
That's true.
And it's a non-union film. I mean, it's some of these guys that you even ask them, it's like, well, hey, I love the script, I want to do it. I'm like, well, we're shooting it, for a nickel, and it's, we can't even afford union. Oh, well, forget it. Like, okay. So you don't even try to go down that road, because it's almost like a sacrilege that you dare ask them to do a non-union film. But Brandon was fantastic, and it's something. Again, someone that I trust, that I know is going to have no problem getting naked and dragging his balls across the gravel.
Yeah, fucking hell.
ripping a girl's, bra off, grabbing her crotch, doing all this stuff, because you have to be in the moment, not like, oh, am I hurting you? Or it's got to feel real, and if both actors aren't into that 100%, or one's got trepidation of getting naked or doing the things that really happen, it's wasting everyone's time. And I knew Brandon would give 100%, no qualms of getting naked, no problems, or no complaining, or whining about it, and he was the best and right choice for sure.
And also, he did it in a nice way.
Yes, and did it with a smile.
Just missed the opportunity to put that on the poster.
Yeah. Yes, Ed Kemper, he did it in a nice way. Horrible things. He did horrible things in a nice way.
There's your tagline.
He was very polite.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I want to pivot and just ask you some random questions, if I might. The first one is a two-part question, just about your love of filmmaking in general and how far back it goes. I'd love to know, what was the first movie you remember seeing, and was there a movie that lit your spark or your fire to want to make a movie?
Yeah. Well, I mean, growing up with a little 13-inch black and white Quasar TV, watching Twilight Zone, Alfred Hitchcock Presents, Outer Limits, One Step Beyond, all this stuff, just loving it and just being creeped out by certain things. And, the first film I remember seeing in the theater that really, this is what I want to do, was actually Quest for Fire.
Oh, wow.
And I remember seeing it with my dad, and, when the ape man is on the thing, and the other tribe smashes his hands with the rock and the blood, and he falls off. It's just things that stick in my head. I can smell that theater. It brings me back to a tiny kid, and seeing this stuff and these amazing images and the nudity and the violence, and it's just something that really. That's the film that really sticks out in my mind as being the one time where I'm like, okay, this is something, I'm hooked on film, and I'm hooked on going to the cinema and all the things that unfortunately is really gone. I mean, there's not a film out in the last 10 years that I'm like, I'm going to get in my car and I'm going to go to the theater. Yeah. Back when you were a teenager, you'd walk 20 miles to go fucking sit in a packed shitty theater, smell, with no AC and whatever, just to see, the Night of the Living Dead remake.
Damn straight.
There's nothing like that now, or in the, I don't even see it happening again. It's really a shame that the time is gone. Or drive-ins, or the video store, all those great things that you just are transported with. And that's what got me wanting to make a film that's one day in a video store or back on your shelf there, or whatever. Those were the things, because I'm a physical media guy all the way. I mean, I've got Betamax, Laserdisc, everything that was there I grew up on. It was just a thrill and an amazing thing to not only want to own those films that I love, but also try to make something that makes someone else out there that's a little me going up in the screen and saying, hey, I want to do that one day.
That's the correct answer, mate. It's the best answer that any filmmaker's given us, because usually it's Star Wars, fucking Jaws, or Jurassic Park. Like, they're the answers that are on rotation with most people.
Well, it's either that or Popeye. I saw Popeye with my another one that I'm like, if I were to do comedies or Altman style films, I would say Popeye for sure.
Oh, mate, what a banger.
Greatly.
I would
That's
love.
the joy of cinema. I mean, you can see something like, Quest for Fire, and it gives you a hard on. You want to do all this stuff, or you can see Popeye and you're like, oh, that's amazing. It's a cartoon brought to life. And you hear later, oh, they did all this cocaine. Well, that's even better.
I was going to say, you watch Quest for Fire. You watch Quest for Fire, makes you want to make a movie. You watch Popeye, makes you want to do cocaine so bad.
You watch Ed Kemper with the mum at the back of the door, makes you want to masturbate. Like, it's just,
Bingo.
I'd love to ask you about Easter Bunny Kill Kill. That film has become a bona fide sort of cult favorite with fans. Would you return to that for like a sequel or a reboot?
Oh,
Yeah.
in a heartbeat. I mean, if look, if the thing is the thing that did fuck up, and I'll say, this quite honestly, like, and I guess it started with Nightcaller. Nightcaller did all right. We finished that and whatever, and it's like, but it was kind of like on the middle. Was it going to do better, or is it going to kind of stay there, or is it going to drop down completely? Fuck it. Let's just go make a sequel to it. That'll help. And that sequel, Scalper, was a complete fucking utter bomb. And it really kind of taught me, okay, let's make sure we're making stuff that there's an audience for. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, because I've made Easter Bunny Kill Kill and whatever, and there isn't necessarily an audience for it. And I learned to kind of detach myself. If someone's there and say, "Hey, we love Easter Bunny Kill Kill. We'll give you another 50. We'll give you 50 grand to go make a sequel." In a heartbeat, I would do it, of course. If they're not saying, "Look, we want to make $1 million with it," because I go, "You're never going to fucking make $1 million. You'll be lucky to break even on grand." But and I would embrace anything like that. But if someone were to say, "Hey, go make it with your own money or go do this," I'd say, "Fuck you, man. I'm going to stick with true crime because people are buying that." I mean, well, I hate to say it because the artistry and the love of cinema inside you is like, look, I want to make a movie about this or that, and then you just want to go do it. But at the same time, I've learned to kind of say, well, is there a market for that? Do people want to see that? Does this distributor want to buy it and get behind it? And if the answer is no, then walk away. True crime, they've every one of these that I make or I'm talking about making, they've got the distributor's got a hard on for it. So I'm like, okay, this is the right direction. I enjoy doing it, and when people go about the victims or whatever, I try to, walk a line of making a film that's not only entertaining, but respectful to, in that as much as you can, because no matter how respectful you are to the victims, it's still disrespectful to be making a film based on whatever this stuff. So I get really offended at the people even asking the fucking question because, it's disrespectful for me to be making it. It's disrespectful for you to be watching it. But seeing there's a market for it and it's interesting, I kind of say, well, fuck it. Let's make it and let's do it. And so and it's up to the viewer to say, well, hey, I am interested by it. I'm going to watch it. I don't even think about that aspect of it. And but there's some reviewers I've had and there's some things I've had where they whine about that, and I just get kind of annoyed where it's like, look, it's all ghoulish in one way, shape, or form. It's kind of the way you justify it to yourself for watching it or for making it or whatever. And if you can sleep at night, then God bless you.
Like I loved Easter Bunny Kill Kill, but as someone who's worked in distribution, you've only got one time a year that you can release that film. Whereas something that's as fantastic as Someone's Knocking at the Door, you can release that any time of the year, and then you can sit there and go, why don't all of your films have someone wearing a woman as a hat? Like Mr. Bean does it with a turkey, and then you go even further. But it's her. She's the one that gets his head and shoves it up. And then I was like, this is the most amazing thing I have ever seen on film ever. This is great. Take that, Noah Sagan. Take that.
Yes. But that's funny. Those are the last two films of mine that were released in Australia. That's the other fucked up thing. Whereas before, now it's harder and harder, and that's why I'm excited that Ed Kemper is finally getting out there and going down under. I mean, that's great. I hope they pick up Pig Killer and the other ones that I've got. It's when you make these things and that's another sign of it not doing well. Scalper doesn't get an Australia release, or Nightcaller didn't get there, and you're kind of like, oh, that's a bummer, or whatever. So a film that gets picked up for other countries, you're like, well, it's crossed that bridge. That's a good sign. So I'm going to stick with that, that genre, because I know it's not only going to be profitable, but it's going to be seen by people and people will talk about it. It's nothing more disheartening than making a film that no one sees, no matter how good you think it is or how many reviews it got. It boils down to, is there an audience for it, and are they seeing it? And if they're not, then, you blew an opportunity that you could have made something that reached more people. And I think that's what, the older I get and the more, wary of the battle, that I learn that the business side of it and the artistic side of it are 50-50.
Yeah.
And and like when the distributor comes to me and they're like, hey, you've got to cut 10 minutes out of Dorothea, otherwise, we don't want to release it. I'm like, I'll cut 90 minutes out. I don't give a shit. Whatever you want, whatever makes you happy. And we're, because we're a partnership. You need to make money. I need to get the film seen. As long as you give me a director's cut that I can release, a year later on Blu-ray and DVD, do whatever the fuck you want. And, the U.S. distributor, Dread, Epic Pictures, has been fantastic with that. And they're like, whatever you want, as long as you give us a version that we're happy with and that we can release. And I'm like, we're partners. Let's do it.
Amazing.
Whereas a lot of filmmakers get, so whiny about it. They're like, that's my baby. That's my, and it's like, well, if you want your baby to be seen, you've got to make certain sacrifices. And sometimes those sacrifices might be for the better. I mean, they've got, 10 people of all different ages watching it at the distribution company, and maybe they know certain things that are offensive to a millennial group or to a Gen Z or whatever it might be that I'm missing completely. That maybe if it's going to get a better reaction or seen by more people, if that's what they want, I'll give it to them. As long as my version will be released on the only format I care about, the Blu-ray, whatever. So it doesn't really matter.
Dorothea is probably a really good one to sort of to bring this this chat to a close. Like, I've never heard of Dorothea, another serial killer movie. Can you tell us about her and tell us about this film?
Yeah, she basically in the late 70s, early 80s, she ran a boarding house in Sacramento, California. And she was always kind of a femme fatale sort of person, check forgery, getting people, drunk and then stealing, their jewelry and whatnot. Her whole life was kind of that way. And she basically got this boarding house in Sacramento, rented it out to, elderly and indigent, homeless people and whatever, and started collecting their Social Security. And, when they would basically say, I'm moving out, I don't want you, taking my checks anymore, she would poison them, bury them in the backyard, and then continue getting the Social Security checks, cashing them, and what she had really, kind of an entrepreneurial serial killer side. Where
that's what I like, an entrepreneurial serial killer.
Yes, where she was, and she went, pretty much a decade of doing this and not getting caught and cashing government checks and, and getting away with it because she was this kindly looking, grandmother. And everyone was kind of like, oh, people disappearing. Oh, well,
Yeah.
it couldn't be her. She's, 90 years old and, she's got blue hair and, how could she hurt anyone? So when they ended up finding all these bodies in her backyard, it kind of all came back to bite her, and she, got a life sentence in prison. And it's just a very colorful film and a great departure from Ed Kemper, because I kind of saw it as a film noir mixed with this true crime, mixed with Goodfellas and, a lot of Robert Aldrich, whatever happened to Baby Jane mixed with a little, whatever happened to Aunt Alice. I mean, these certain things that of films that I greatly admire, I could interject in this true story of this kindly, grandmother bumping off these people with not only a dark humor to it, but, almost a grand guignol style of, making a film that's a complete opposite from Ed Kemper. And, because that's what, you try to find these things that excite you as a filmmaker as much as the audience might be excited by it.
And what a cast. Andrew Buzzington comes back in that one. Ginger Lynn's in it. Brink Stevens again. Susan Priver. What a great cast.
Oh, it's fantastic.
So is that film done? Like, are you still working on it?
Yeah, it's coming out on Halloween here in the States in the theaters, and then on November 4th streaming, and hopefully the same distributor that picked up Ed Kemper in Australia will pick up Dorothea.
Yeah, we should have a word to Eagle about doing a Chad Ferrin serial killer box set.
Oh yes.
Yes, tell me Pig Killer.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll send them this grab.
Yes. They get Pig Killer, Dorothea, Ed Kemper. They got 3 right there. I've got another one, Sunset Strip Killers, that we're just finishing post-production on. And I'm shooting Night Stalker Richard Ramirez in February. That's going to be like Lucio Fulci all the way.
Oh, my God.
Fulci true crime.
Do you find that you've subconsciously rubbing your hands with glee every time like a new serial killer enters into the pop culture. He's like, ooh, like Ivan Rasimov, the Russian one. Yes, let's bring that one.
Well, there's so many from
Yeah.
going, to choose from. But, it was one of those things where the Netflix stuff, love them or hate them, that really kind of pushed, the Ed Kemper deal. Cause I was like, geez, look at how well Dahmer's doing over at Netflix. And like, oh, let's see the rough cut of Ed Kemper. Send it over immediately. I mean, they bought that film before it was even done, and then Dorothea, they bought it off the script. So I knew that it's like, okay, this true crime stuff is where it's at. I mean, I've never had that response. Whether the films are good or bad, I don't give a shit anymore. It's one of those things where you're like, okay, there's a market for this. As long as it's in focus, as long as you're willing to do this, I'm going to do it on the surface, of course, because I give my heart and soul to each of these productions. I die 10 years are out of me on each film, even though how fast they are. But I put my entire soul into each and every film. And when it's done, for me, it's done. It's out of my mind. I'm not thinking about bad reviews, good reviews, money. I'm on to the next one. And in that, there's a freedom. Whereas before, you'd be like, oh man, Easter Bunny didn't make any money, or this. I got a bad review. People say I should die, and you want to just go put a shotgun in your mouth. And I just said, forget that. Let it all go. Focus on the next. Do the best you can with each film, and then move on to the next one, and the next one, and the next one. Because I could get killed by a serial killer tomorrow. So
Yeah. But that's how you have a career in film, as opposed to a one and done filmmaker who never gets another film up again, because they don't understand the actual business of making films. But I just want to put this out there. I don't know if it's been done already, but that the Asylum thing, like, can you do like Ed Kemper versus Ed Gein?
Oh yeah. Oh my God. First.
And have them, like Freddy versus Jason, and just do like a serial killer mashup.
Bundy versus Gacy.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, the dating game killer versus Ed Kemper. Like, they go after the co-ed appears on the dating game show, and they...
Dude, you've struck gold. Dorothea versus Lizzie Borden.
Yeah.
That is gold.
Oh my God. Well, I mean, listening to you talk there, I'm like, Ben, we need to change tacks. We've been like working on this little creature feature. Like, we need to do a serial killer movie. Like, that's where it's at.
Well, I think you got it. You bring them both together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We could do the Frankston Killer versus the Yorkshire Ripper. Writes itself. Awesome.
That's good.
This has been the most fun we've had in an interview for a long time. So thanks so much for joining us on the show. We encourage everyone to go out and check out Ed Kemper, or Co-Ed Killer as it's called down here. Good stuff. Thanks so much for your time.
Thanks, guys. Let's do it again.
2018, the disgraced American comedian Bill Cosby was found guilty of 3 cases of aggravated sexual assault and sentenced to 3 to 10 years in a Pennsylvania state prison. When asked what his penis looked like, one victim said, and I quote, blurry.
The year is 2018. Ben had just lost his virginity. Jesus, I was 40 years old. And she was made of rubber. Counts, right? Sure it does.
She had 5 fingers.
It counts, right? Sure it does, yeah. So
You enjoyed it more than I did.
Isn't that how it's supposed to be? Let us run through the top 10 grossing films of the year 2018. At number 10, we've got Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald. Grindelwald, who gives a shit? The Crimes of Johnny Depp is what it should have been called, and if there would have been some shitting on beds, it would have been a much better film. Number 9, Deadpool 2, still haven't seen that. Mission Impossible Fallout, despite owning 3 copies on Blu-ray, accidentally. Mission Impossible Fallout at number 8, Venom at number 7, shock horror, because I thought everyone hated that movie. I liked it, but Bohemian Rhapsody at number 6, Aquaman at number 5, Incredibles 2, Jurassic World, Fallen Kingdom, Black Panther at number 2, and the number 1 spot, Avengers Infinity War. Because at the end of the day, white people win. Is that how it... So offensive.
Well, before you mentioned 10 Cloverfield Lane, this is the year of the Cloverfield Paradox.
Yes.
Which is interesting, which I believe...
didn't even know what that was.
Yeah, it's like an alien type of story. It's,
Has it got anything to do with the other Cloverfield stuff?
Yeah, it's sort of...
And Red State?
Kind of. Like it was written and made as a separate film, and they just sort of shoehorned it into the franchise, and it takes place in space, and you kind of see the invasion fly past their ship, so they witness it going to Earth.
Okay, that's the tenuous tie.
That's the tenuous tie.
More closer than 8mm 2s tie into the 8mm
it's another one of
franchise.
these fucking movies, particularly in space, where the alien just gets into your psyche, into your head, and I don't like that.
That's what I like to call padding.
Yeah. We've probably given the Cloverfield Paradox way
too much.
more attention than
Yeah.
anyone should. It's also the year of Insidious, The Last Key, The Commuter, 12 Strong, Den of Thieves, Winchester, Peter Rabbit, 50 Shades Freed.
Game Night, Gringo, the Death Wish remake, The Meg came out this year. Unfriended Dark Web by our friend Steven Susko. Black Klansman. I know Jarrett was a big fan of that when it came out.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was a return to form, as far as I'm concerned, for Spike Lee. Love, Simon, The Hurricane Heist, Tomb Raider reboot, Pacific Rim Uprising, Isle of Dogs, Unsane, Midnight Sun, Ready Player One.
Yeah, some big films. I didn't write down any others. Other
Oh,
than
okay.
that.
Okay, I'll
was
go
all
through
I
a
wrote
few
down.
more. We've got The Happy Time Murders, Crazy Rich Asians, The Slender Man, The Spy Who Dumped Me, Christopher Robin, Little Italy, which my wife watches way more than anybody else, keeps the fucking algorithm going on Netflix, that's for sure. Hellfest, Night School, The Old Man with the Gun, so on. Oh, it's also the year of The Star Is Born.
I was going to say, you're missing the big one. It's the Taron Egerton version of Robin Hood.
Oh, God, yes.
The film that everybody loved.
My God.
I think not even Taron's mum watched that one.
Oh, there's some other big ones. So we had Mary Poppins Returns. We had The Favourite, which was the Oscar winner. We had Creed 2, Green Book, Widows, The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, which was the final Coen Brothers movie. There's plenty. It's plenty. I'm sorry, I'm having a bit of reflux here.
That lemonade's coming back on you.
The Aussie films of this year, it's not a spectacular year. We had The Barbecue. Oh, God, do you remember The Barbecue? Far out. We had Boar. We had Brothers Nest, Necrotronic, Sweet Country, Swingin' Safari. We had That's Not My Dog and Upgrade.
So some decent horror films in there for Australia, which is nice.
Yeah, Swingin' Safari. That was
Not enough swinging, too much safari.
But, of course, the fun part of this segment is guessing each other's favourites for the year. It's a very tricky one for you to guess mine because I don't really love anything from this year. Like,
Yeah, it's a real...
I've managed to whittle, what have I got, six movies, so...
And I reckon you'll struggle with mine.
Yeah, I did.
No, some of them will be obvious, but a couple of them are actually French films. So
I won't guess those. I've put 3 down for you, and I don't think they're right. Like
Okay,
I can't guess anything this year for you.
Well, why don't you kick it off?
Okay, so I've gone A Simple Favor.
No.
All right. Bad Times at the El Royale.
No, still, I've never seen that film.
Okay. And Widows.
Yes, Widows was on my
Oh my
list.
God, I
so
got one.
congratulations.
So, thank you.
That was good.
So
I'm proud
yeah.
of you.
Okay. So what did you have?
I had Knife Plus Heart,
Yeah. No.
which played at MIF. Climax,
Yep.
which I loved.
Is that
Overlord.
Is that the Gaspinot?
That's the Gaspinot film,
Yep.
yep. About a bad acid trip, which is fucking great. Overlord, the Nazi zombie film.
Mhm.
Bohemian Rhapsody, strictly based on how many times I've watched it. Halloween, the Halloween remake, the first one.
Wow.
The not the Rob Zombie one, the first of the current
Yeah.
series.
Yeah. That's
It
interesting.
was in my top 10. And The Predator,
Okay. Yes.
which I thoroughly love and will fight anyone.
A movie that has not tracked very well with most, but I would agree that it improves each time you watch it. I think it's a better movie each time. The problem with the tone for me with that one, I think they tried to just inject too much comedy into that one.
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved
Fair
all
enough.
of it. And admittedly, like I was down on Predators.
Yeah.
And then I went and rewatched that, and I'm like, I actually quite like Predators.
Yeah,
Predators is very similar. The world is very similar to Badlands.
Yes. I was in line with people at the Predator Badlands screening, and they were talking behind me about how bad some of these Predator movies were, and they talked about Predators, the third one, saying it's just a piece of shit. And I couldn't help myself. I'm like, what are you talking about? That's a fantastic movie. You just need to watch it again. And lo and behold, Badlands, like you said, it's pretty much the same kind of movie.
Yeah.
And it was written by Robert Rodriguez and directed by Nimrod Antal.
Yeah. And it stars Walton Goggins. Walton Goggins in his second or third, that was his first appearance in what would be 3 appearances in the Predator franchise. Always a different character. He's never played.
And
he gets killed. I think he gets killed in most of them.
Adrian Brody too.
And Adrian Brody, and is it Sonia Braga or Alice Braga? Sorry, Alice Braga.
Anyway, so that's yours. Was there more?
That's it. Yeah,
That's
Widows.
All right, so have a crack at mine.
I don't like any of these. And Annihilation.
No, I hated that movie.
Yeah, I knew someone liked it. I wasn't sure if it was you.
Wasn't
or
me.
someone else. Overlord.
No. Speaking of Overlord, though, that was, I believe, originally conceived as a Cloverfield movie.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so it's the year of the Cloverfield.
Cloverfield. They love that. They love that franchise. Ready Player One.
No.
Won't You Be My Neighbor?
No,
The Mr. Rogers documentary?
No, I prefer the document. Oh, that's a documentary?
This is the doco.
It's not the Tom Hanks movie?
No.
Okay, yeah, that was good, but it's not in my top 10.
Tag.
No, but that's fun too. Did we watch that together?
We watched both Tag and the other...
The games one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Not Games Night, which also came out in 2018, which is a great film.
No, it was about blokes
Yeah.
on a weekend away and they played chasey pretty much.
Yeah. And I think the last one was Sicario, Day of the Soul.
Yes, that's definitely on my list. I do love that one.
So we both got one.
We're both legendary.
And considering that we both were doing the show together at this time and would have compared top 10 lists.
That's right.
It's and either one of us could actually go back and listen to those shows and find out what the other person's top 10 films of the year was. Obviously, we haven't done that.
Well, I know I've got one in here that I think is my favourite of the year, which was You Were Never Really Here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which is one with Joaquin Phoenix. I think that's excellent.
And The Hammer. Joaquin Phoenix and his hammer.
It's a great movie. And then I had A Star Is Born, because I did genuinely like that. I think it's an excellent film. Into the Spider-Verse, which is rare for me, given that it is a Marvel-y kind of thing.
That don't come up on the list.
It's a wonderful piece of cinema.
Why was that not in the top 10 of the year?
Yeah, I know. Maybe that found its audience later, on DVD. And then the last one, which I've listed, which I think you hated, I don't know, but it's Peppermint.
No, look, I was blasé about it.
Yeah.
I was like, fine.
And for me, I kind of was too, but of the pickings here, this one I remember thinking to myself, wow, this is actually better than I thought. It's like a Death Wish kind of vigilante kind of movie.
Yeah.
I just liked what it was about. So that is it.
There we go.
A very underwhelming year.
Underwhelming year that was 2018.
Welcome to Bonehead Weekly Fun Size, and this week I've almost got my voice back from Scarefest. This is 2018, what we think was the best movie.
My favorite movie of 2018. It's still one of my favorite movies, period. Sorry to bother you. I love that movie. Directed by Boots
What's the
Riley.
movie? You're just apologizing again.
Well, he's been bothering me for years.
It was the first movie by Boots Riley. It stars one of my favorite actors currently, Lakeith Stanfield. I honestly don't think he can do any wrong in any movie that he's in. It's about a man who's down on his luck, and he becomes a telemarketer, and he suddenly finds that he has an amazing gift to get people to buy the product. If you haven't seen it, I don't want to tell you what that gift is. It will blow your mind. It is bizarre. And let me tell you, when you think it's going one way, the ending just completely derails, and it pulls you right in.
Now,
sorry to bother you. Loved it.
I wasn't going to see it, and Chad's like, you got to watch it. And then I watched it, and it's like, yeah, Chad, it's pretty damn good. Mine, I saw in the theater by myself. Didn't know who he was at the time. Would later get into his movies, of course, Midsommar. But Hereditary. Hereditary is one of the most original horror films I've ever seen. I had seen in a long time. It's so cool that I watched Midsommar later. It was also great. But Hereditary, and it's one of those, I know I say this a lot on that third act, but you either buy into it and follow along with it or not. There's not a bad performance in it. I don't know that you automatically see that girl's head. I mean, and then the way the boy reacts after it happens, just going to bed, it's just such a good, man, that movie is so well acted. Toni Collette's in that. Gabriel Byrne, they're all so exquisite. I just love that movie. Hereditary's awesome.
I'm going to go with one, much like Joe. I saw this in the theater. I was by myself. Nobody was there. I saw it on the last night it was in the theater, and the exit signs were broken in the theater, so it was pitch black in there, and I had an absolute blast. They had the volume cranked. It was perfect. It was unearthly, and it also spawned this here action figure. Mandy is
Oh, it's a good movie.
it in some ways it's some people point to it as Nick Cage's Renaissance. He has been in a lot of horror movies since that, but I still will say this is a movie that really is so strengthened by the portrayal by Riseborough of Mandy. That first half of the movie is her, and God, you actually care.
You
And
do.
so Mandy
She is
Mandy
so
is
good.
so it's just a perfect weird film. But I loved it. I loved sitting in the theater. I walked out going, that was an experience. And I've watched it again on DVD. I've showed it to other people. Yeah, Mandy is my 2018. I've got one honorable mention.
Mandy and Pig are two of my favorite Nicolas Cage performances of all time.
Agreed.
I probably like, as much as I like Leaving Las Vegas, it's Mandy and Pig I would prefer over both of them. And Mandy, God, it's almost two movies.
And that's what I love about it. It's like you get so invested in, there's a feeling of isolation and her personality and her introversion and her, and then it flips and it works and you actually care what follows.
That's Pan Cosmatos, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. The son of George Cosmatos. This has been Bonehead Weekly Fun Size.
I want to do a quick honorable mention, Joe,
Yeah.
just because nobody saw it and it also had a powerful performance that stuck with me. White Boy Rick, and it's Belle Pally. Belle Pally's performance in White Boy Rick as the sister is phenomenal. That's my honorable mention. I'll shut up.
You're getting better at that, Ben.
Yeah, I always think I need you to give me a prompt. I'm like David Andrews on the set of Cherry 2000. Just put a little thumbtack at the end of a stick and poke me when I have to react. Which one is it?
That's right. Watch out. Hot stuff. Hot stuff. Movie battle time. What are our movies that are battling this week, Ben?
This is a fantastic battle.
Sure is.
So from the year 1988 comes Night of the Demons, directed by Kevin Tenney, the man who has the rare distinction of being one of the few filmmakers who has made a sequel of an original Jim Wynorski film. He made Demolition University after Jim Wynorski's Demolition High. Usually Jim Wynorski's the king of number twos. Or threes. Or fours.
Uh-huh.
It's rare that someone's made a sequel of his.
It's very, very, very obvious at this point in time that Ben never watches an episode because he has no idea how long he's left that image on the screen in front of his face for. Give us the second film right now, Ben.
It's Fright Night from 1985.
There we go.
Yeah.
And now I can just push them to the side. We're visible again.
Okay, so now we'll talk about...
Now you can go into all that shit.
Right. So Fright Night... so back to Night of the Demons, 1988, directed by Kevin Tenney, starring Linnea Quigley, Amelia Kincaid, Jill Terashito and her fantastic boobies, and Kathy Podewell. Fright Night, the eternal classic, directed by Tom Holland, starring Chris Sarandon, William Ragsdale, Amanda Bass, Roddy McDowall, and the great Stephen Jeffries. Fraternity Vacations, Stephen Jeffries.
Well, I mean, yes. So Fraternity Vacation is the comparable movie here because in that he's constantly saying like, "Oh, mother." In this one, it's Brewster.
What I like about him in this film is that he's much more of a cunt.
Yeah.
Like he's still kind of a nerd,
But he's an absolute
he's
smug little asshole.
He's like, yeah.
I don't think they even intended him to be a nerd.
He's not. He's not really like a nerd.
He's ganglion.
He's just
dweeby.
Yeah.
But I do love the guy. I wish he had a bigger career in this era in the 80s.
Look, I like him so much I might start watching some of his gay porn.
I was waiting for that to come in. Well, that's the Sam Ritter collection, if you will. That's his porn name.
Is that his porn name?
Yep.
I'll just write that down.
And interestingly, though, his co-star from Fraternity Vacation was Amanda Bierce, and she's in Fright Night.
And she's in this as well, yeah.
So, and they were made a year apart, these movies, which is fun. This is a tricky one for me. This is a fantastic. Once again, we've got a really fantastic, strong battle going on here. Fright Night for me, for many years, was what I would always consider a very overrated movie. Like, I never loved it the way other people did.
Yeah, right.
I liked it. I recognized the appeal, but it just didn't float my boat. True to my nature, I love Part 2. Part 2 for me was the preferred film, and I've watched them both recently, and I still like Part 2 a lot, right? I don't know why. It just has some kind of appeal to me, but I did love Fright Night more this time than I have before. So I got a kick out of it. Night of the Demons, haven't seen as often. This was the first time in about 10 years, I reckon. This one wins for me. This is the winner. This is just from start to finish for me. I was like having the time of my life.
That's so interesting because I am the exact opposite.
I thought so.
Like, because I've always been a big Night of the Demons fan. I've seen Night of the Demons a hell of a lot more than I've seen Fright Night.
Yeah.
And this time watching it, and admittedly, I watched Fright Night first.
Yeah.
Then I was gonna, and I totally fell down a fucking Fright Night.
You did.
Hole. I ended up watching, in the grand scheme of things, I watched Fright Night 2. I watched Fright Night the remake. I watched Fright Night 2.
The remake.
The remake sequel that's actually a reboot.
Yeah, that's right.
I did not watch Night of the Demons 2 or 3.
Yes, I did watch number 2. That doesn't hold up as well, although still not a terrible movie.
Look, it's still got Amelia Kincaid in it, which is
her character's in all of them.
In all of them.
But yeah.
She's phenomenal.
But
Her dance sequence is the best thing in Night of the Demons.
I think what the thing is, I think the reason you went with Fright Night and I went for Night of the Demons is that whole, we'd seen the other one more. And this was a revisit that sort of was we saw it in a new light.
I'd only ever seen Fright Night once.
Okay.
I watched it. I watched it late, and I look, the way I kind of describe these two films is that Fright Night is the perfect film when you're like somewhere between 7 and 10, and you're watching a movie that you're not supposed to watch.
Yeah.
And Night of the Demons is the perfect film if you're 12, or 11 to 13, and you're watching a film that you're not supposed to watch.
Both of these movies have the honor of being the type of VHS covers that terrified me as a kid. So Fright Night has that really striking image, which they're on the screen right now. That really striking image above the house with the vampire teeth. And Night of the Demons has that really bad publicity shot of the demon lady, the witch lady eating like an eyeball or something from a martini glass. Yeah. And each of the installments have the same image, same kind of.
I would say probably from these two films, the only poster that had a bigger impact on me as a kid was Blood Diner.
Oh, yeah.
That poster terrified me.
That was a scary poster.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although we did Demons a week back, didn't we? Did we do that?
No,
I just watched it.
Yeah,
I just watched it. I've lost track.
Because I gave you the box set.
You gifted me the box set. The Australian VHS cover of that with just the gross, slimy demon on the front, which, if you look at it now from an adult perspective and, in the year we are, it's the most hokey, cheap fucking image ever.
Yeah.
And it just looks like rubber. As a kid, absolutely petrifying.
My nieces, from a very early age, when they came around, I've always had that VHS on display, both Demons and Demons 2, and without fail, until they turned about 10, every time they come in, they just stare at that cover.
Yeah.
Like, what's that one?
Well, me as
Can
a
we
kid,
watch that one?
in the video store, I would just pick them out and stare at them.
Yeah.
The other one's the lamp. If you turn the lamp over, the Australian one, there's a really nasty image on the back.
Yeah.
That shit did it for me. Anyway, back to Fright Night and Night of the Demons. A great duo, great,
And I would say the tits are surprisingly good in Fright Night. No tits in Fright Night 2. Plenty of tits in.
And yet more women
Night
in
of the
Part
Demons.
2.
More women, yeah.
Yeah. What I like about Fright Night is obviously the backlot production design. Like, the neighborhood is like on a backlot. I love that. What I found interesting, and I never picked up on this until I read about it, is Chris Sarandon's vampire character is constantly eating fruit, whether it's like an orange or an apple. And I found out, being a method kind of actor, his theory was he has fruit bat DNA.
Right.
And so that's why he's eating fruit all the way through it. And it's a great little like detail.
Yeah.
Which I thought was fantastic watching it this time.
Yeah, I honestly don't think I've got this on. I don't think I've got the Blu-ray or anything like that. I would really like to dig into the extra features.
Yeah.
And see what the deal is. I've got Night of the Demons, funnily enough, on the.
And funny enough, Chris Sarandon returned to his vampire days with Bordello of Blood.
Yeah, and he does pop up. He's the only one who pops up in a cameo in the 2011 remake.
Yeah,
but
that's
just as a regular Joe.
And the one thing I want to note with Night of the Demons, which I found so irritating, the character of Roger has to be cinema's greatest pussy. Like, he just whinges all the way through the movie. And yet he's like one of the pivotal characters.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah. I'm surprised at all the people who get killed, who you think are the main characters, and then they end up getting killed.
I mean, Night of the Demons also is very heavily influenced by Evil Dead and things like that. Like,
and very much so.
And even like, I don't know if you would see this comparison or anyone else, but I even sort of had Rock and Roll High School in my mind for a bit. Like, some of these, like towards the end when it's probably Rock and Roll High School Forever more so, when you've got the giant wall that they have to get over, and just the way it's shot, I'm just thinking of that principle that surrounds their school. She fortifies it.
Yeah.
In part 2 of Rock and Roll High School, and anyway.
But once again, it's a film that both these films are movies that made you feel like we really missed out on the high school experience here in Australia, because like they're totally adults.
Yeah,
they're doing adult stuff. You're like, none of that stuff was anywhere near me when I was in high school.
Correct.
I'm sure it was near. I'm sure yes, there were people out there doing a lot of that stuff. I just wasn't one of them. But yeah, look, I thoroughly enjoyed Fright Night again. I loved the practical effects. I loved the setting. I love Roddy McDowall and Roddy McDowall's character, like the TV host, which I completely
great character.
bypassed in my previous watching of the film.
And I always forgot how reluctant he was. Like, I always thought in my mind that he was very actively participating in this whole thing, but he doesn't want anything to do with it. I do love his spray on grey hair. That's hilarious.
That's gold. But it's so interesting because I was surprised because I remember watching the remake and going, yeah, it was all right. But I didn't at any point did I do any research on it.
Yeah.
And so when I kind of put it on for this, I was surprised at how many positive, like people were like, this is just as good as the first one. This is great. Like, it really doesn't disappoint. And so that actually made me even more excited to rewatch it. And I did thoroughly enjoy it. Colin Farrell is excellent as the bad guy.
Yeah.
It's the most appealing. And I will say this about both Fright Night films. The mums in both are...
horned up.
They're horned up and very appealing because of it. And I think this is the most appealing I've seen Toni Collette in a film, probably since your favourite film of all time, Muriel's Wedding.
Get it out. Go on, get it out.
Just stop talking about it already. We know it's a great film. We know, everyone knows Muriel's Wedding's a great film. But you know, David Tennant. I love that they switched the horror host to a Vegas magician.
That's right. It's weird.
Like, and he's such a sleazebag. It's great.
Yeah.
The innuendos and stuff are great. It's all excellent. I will say the only downside to it is, and it really is a great kind of like if you're into that kind of thing of practical effects in the original versus CGI effects in the second one. It's practical all the way.
Yeah, 100%. Always will be. Always will be. So the only question I have for you, and simply because we're not going to do what we did the other week and create a new battle out of this, but I'm wondering what you thought of Fright Night 2, the original Fright Night 2.
Oh, I loved Fright Night 2.
Yeah.
I thought it was great. I really, very similar to St. Ives, funnily enough. And the last Evil Dead Rise or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I really want to live in that fucking apartment building. How awesome is that place?
Yeah, it is. It's a fascinating sequel because it was made under unusual circumstances because they kind of thought they'd get the whole cast back to make a legitimate continuation. They could only get 2 of them back, and at the last minute.
Well, they killed one.
No, but they could have still found a way because Stephen Jeffries' character. No, spoiler-ish alert. does come back at the end of the first one. Right?
Yeah, right, yeah.
So they could have, done all that, but he went on to Evil 931 or whatever the hell that movie was that he made.
976.
976, that one. I've lost my train of thought, but
Amanda Bess.
yeah, she was tied up with Married with Children, so she didn't come
By
back.
that stage.
It was the first season, I believe.
She's so young.
Yeah, I know. But Marcy, you go back to season 1, they were all pretty young.
They're pretty young, yeah. Marcy really ruined her.
What I find, yeah, she rocks up to conventions now, so she's doing a lot of Fright Night
She's
panels
doing
and
it,
things like that. What I found hilarious about part 2, and we'll leave it on this, I guess, is just the fact that they drag out the whole amnesia thing, the vampires didn't exist in part 1. It was all a figment of my imagination. It was a serial killer. I was wrong.
Which is seemingly kind of exactly what they did for the Gate. In
Yeah,
Gate 2.
that's how they just retcon it.
It's a trope. That's just
Well, I'm glad you like part 2 because I thought I was one of the few.
No, I thought it was great. I just, the vampire doesn't do that much.
Yeah.
And the kind of connection is pretty tenuous.
Yeah.
And not enough nudity. John Grease, I forgot, John Grease and Brian Thompson are fucking excellent. John Grease playing the Wolfman again because he's the Wolfman in Monster Squad.
God, yeah, that's right. Oh, my God. He was hilarious when he falls out of the window.
Yeah. He's the coolest dude in the film.
And I thought Ronnie McDowell's better in part 2 from my point of view because he's like really into it in part 2. Big
he's
time.
a much more realized character in number 2.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, for me, it's that apartment building is for the win.
As for the actual battle we're doing, it's a tie.
Yeah,
It's a tie.
it's a tie.
Got him good.
It's time for rapid fire recommendations. I'm going to go first. I'm going to try and be quick with this one.
Yeah, me too. 'Cause I haven't really got anything in front of me.
Well, look, I did a rare thing.
Okay.
A rare thing. I actually listened to something that you said,
Oh my goodness.
which is very unlike me. I didn't go back and listen to the show. I didn't go crazy.
Oh.
But it did pop up on my list of movies made in 2018, and so I watched the hell out of it. It is Leprechaun Returns.
Steve
Kostansky's Leprechaun film, a direct sequel from the original first one. It's
Yep.
as if he never went into space or never went into the hood.
Twice.
Twice. This one.
That's right, because the main character is Jennifer Anderson's daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's coming back to me because I had watched this as we had him on the show for Death Talk, or I thought I'd go back and watch that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had fun with this one. How did you respond?
Yeah. Look, I thoroughly enjoyed it. It didn't have nudity, which in this kind of films, it's a mark against it.
It really bothered me.
But it did have other great things. The gore effects and stuff, fantastic.
Next level.
The comedy is great. It does it does star Taylor Spritler from Melissa and Joey, which is great, and Mark Holton from Pee-wee's Big Adventure
From the first Leprechaun.
Yeah. Turns up replaying his kind of character.
Oh, and the way the Leprechaun's reborn from him or something.
Yeah, it's so good.
It's amazing.
It's so like the gore is truly fantastic.
And practical.
The practical effects are great. The Leprechaun puppet is great. His accent is great. They don't rely on the old cheap shit to kind of like the shoes and.
Oh,
like
there is a moment though where they distract him with shoes, and I just laughed my ass off.
They reference it, but it is not.
It's
they don't
the
use
basement moment though,
Yeah.
where they got to get out of the basement.
Somehow.
Got to get the shoes.
Who leaves perfectly good shoes like this lying around? Oh, it's terrible. Imagine that in an Irish accent rather than instead of a little girl's voice. But yeah, look, it's definitely fantastic. If you get a chance to check it out and you like Leprechaun movies or practical effects horror films, then Leprechaun Returns is the way to go.
Do you know what I do hate about it though? It's not in that Leprechaun Blu-ray collection because that got made just before this. Oh, that shits me.
There'll be another when they do it on 4K. They'll do them all on 4K, and it'll get slotted in then.
Yeah, am I
You
going
can
to
upgrade?
And am I gonna? Probably not.
Probably not.
So I don't really have anything to talk about this week. I've watched a shit ton of movies, but none I'd say, look, yeah, you've got to go out and see it. But a couple of weeks ago, I did revisit Steven Spielberg's / Stanley Kubrick's AI, Artificial Intelligence.
Right.
That movie holds up really well. And it's a lot darker and sleazier than I remember it being. And
Because
yeah,
of Gigolo Joe and Gigolo
not
Jane.
only Gigolo Joe, but when they go into Rouge City, which is full of brothels and like the buildings are shaped like women's legs that are parted, and you walk right through the middle, and there's a giant building that looks like tits.
That's all Kubrick.
That is all Kubrick.
Kubrick, I read this thing, this whole interview with him, where not interview, but like this whole thing about how for years he was trying to make a mainstream porno.
Yeah,
and it just his girlfriend and wife and stuff always said, "Look, if you do it, I'm leaving you. Like, no, you cannot do it." And that's what kind of Eyes Wide Shut was as close as he got.
yeah.
But that's what he's always wanted to do.
Well, if you don't know the backstory here, this is a passion project of Kubrick's that he died in the pre-production stages of, and Spielberg had made a pledge to him that he would take over the project should something happen, because I think he was in failing health at the time.
Is that who you think, when you think of Kubrick going, who would I get to complete my vision? I'm not saying...
Yeah.
But, if you had no knowledge of this...
No.
Is Spielberg who you would have thought he would have gone
Probably
to?
not, but I do know that Kubrick considers Spielberg one of the filmmakers of his generation. Like, really loves Spielberg. So it makes sense to me knowing the backstory between the two.
Yeah.
But no.
if you didn't...
No, absolutely not.
Who do you think is more likely?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know, actually, to be honest with you. I'm trying to think of filmmakers like Kubrick. He's kind of a one-of-a-kind. I can't say, like, a David Lynch or anything like that, because that's too weird. No, I don't know.
Yeah, David Lynch would have gone taken it in a weird direction, unless he'd seen Straight Story before he died. Okay, Lynch can do normal
But
too.
what I found was, I think Spielberg was very true to Kubrick's vision by keeping all that kind of stuff in, but at the same time making it very Spielbergian. And I wonder too if the original film would have been kind of Spielbergian. I think maybe Kubrick was going in a almost...
There would have been a lot more childlike wonder at the brothels. It would have been. They all would have been beautiful brothels.
Yes,
and he would have gone into all of them.
Yeah, but I wonder what elements Spielberg put into it as opposed to leaving it all and just giving it a Spielberg touch, because I kind of feel like the robot market where they go out and they catch robots and then battle them to the death or destroy them.
Oh, look, I haven't seen it since
Brendan Gleeson plays this like ringmaster that goes out and hunts down old androids.
Perfect casting.
Yeah, and that's how the story is this little Haley Joel Osment character is a little droid. He's the first of his kind, and he's a real looking android. Like, you wouldn't know the difference.
He's a child surrogate. Like the people who buy him's child has died.
But he's like a demo model.
Yeah,
which has been modelled off the creator, which is William Hurt's character, of his own dead son.
Yeah.
Like, so there's all this interconnected stuff. But the point being, they have to abandon this robot because it just gets too dangerous when he becomes too obsessive and they can't switch him off.
Yeah.
And rather than the mother grows so attached that rather than take him back for destruction, or whatever you call that,
they put him in the ring and let him fight to the death.
She releases him into the forest and just says, "Stay away from
run, Forrest, run.
Stay away from that direction or whatever."
Yeah,
and he gets swept up by this mob. Meets Gigolo Joe, who's like Jude Law. He's like a male gigolo robot that like all he knows and wants to do is pleasure women, and that's hilarious because he just keeps referring to the only thing he knows is how to get a woman off. Like, it's great. That's Kubrick right there. But it's wonderful though. It has a whole Pinocchio element to it, because he wants to be a real boy, and then the movie ends in a really weird way. And I'm wondering if it's Spielberg or Kubrick, because it goes 2,000 years into the future where mankind doesn't exist anymore. It's all AI that exists. Yeah. Everything's AI, and they're trying to replicate mankind. It's just fascinating.
Yeah, I have to say, look, I didn't particularly enjoy the film when I saw it theatrically, and then I went out this was at Chatston when Borders was still there, and I went out and I picked up the latest issue of Film Comment, which was a kind of the New York Film Critics Circle magazine, and Amy Taubin had written this really long analysis of it.
Yeah, and
reading that article, I was like, "Holy fuck, this is a great film!" Like, it really turned me around on it.
Yeah.
But I still need to go back and
what holds up really well, and because it's been like over 20 years since it got released, the special effects are as good now. Were good then, but they're just as good now. Like, you can't see it seamless the way they do it. But what does date very badly is this film got made just before September 11, so 9/11. And so the Twin Towers are still in these futuristic moments.
Right.
And I remember there was discussion at the studio because it got released a week before the attacks. And they're like, well, do we pull it from release, remove that shit, and then re-release it? And Spielberg's like, "This cat's out of the
It's
bag
there.
now." Like, yeah.
But I mean, there'd be no reason for them to think that they weren't going to rebuild the Twin Towers anyway, because they'd been burnt. You know,
they've been attacked
knocked down a
before
couple of
and-
times.
yeah.
And it just been rebuilt. It's just this one was a bit too.
It's kind of jarring though, because they really focus on them at one point. You know,
Yeah.
like when they go to the frozen New
But
York.
even now, when you're watching it, because you're conscious
Yeah,
of
it still felt really odd to me. It's like you just feel like, wow, that's a shame.
Yeah, right.
You know, feel sorry for them releasing at that time.
But then, did it make you want to go and watch the Fran Drescher made-for-TV movie Fire in the Tower, which is her Twin Towers disaster movie?
No, but you know what it reminds me of? There's elements of the Blade Runner sequel they rip AI off completely.
Right.
Yeah, when they go into the wasteland to where Harrison Ford's living, it's almost shot by shot with this movie.
And we all know that just ripped off Cherry 2000,
That's right.
where they're going to track down the sex bot.
So anyway, that is my recommendation. I gave that a lot more time than I thought I would. But AI, artificial intelligence, go back and check it out. It's a bit of a Spielberg classic.
Yeah, I will. I fucking will.
Well, that'll be 2 in a row then.
It would. Look, I didn't say I'm going to do it this week. Let's. I give it enough time so that when I recommend it at the end of the show, it feels genuine and new.
All right, shall we?
Let's just wrap that up. So that's another great week of Good Movie Monday. We had a great time. I hope you did too. We'll be back next week. I'm not sure who we've got on the show next week. It'll be a surprise for you and us.
I do know it's the director of The Jester.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
You've got me. I can't remember his name. Let's have a quick squizzy here.
Jester McJesterface will be on the show.
Oh,
We'll talk
his
to
name
him.
is Colin something or other. It is Colin Krawchuk. So, yes, he directed The Jester 1 and 2. Number 2 is now available, I believe. So, next week we're going to be chatting with him. We haven't recorded that yet.
No. That's why we couldn't remember.
That's right.
But as we said, goodmoviemonday.com. Check it out and throw us a few shekels. That would be lovely. But other than that, maybe see you next week.
I reckon we will. See ya.